So, Mark, markets are due to close lower again today. Do you see this as a likely reaction to possible tapering this month, or is it simply a bout of profit taking after the strong run that we've had?
Profit taking is probably a good description. I mean, we've seen the buying dry up, and really in the last few days, we saw the markets almost go sideways with regards to the S&P. We saw the Russell yesterday hit new multi-day lows, some action in the Dow, and now the Nasdaq and the S&P are sort of following suit with all those at new multi-day lows. So at least in the short run, it looks like we probably are going to pull back and test that 1775 level in the S&P that does have a lot of significance. It's tough to make too much of this pullback as of now, but we do see breadth continuing to worsen as we move towards the close. Volume is probably going to be a little bit more elevated. Interest rates have started to pull back a little bit in the last day, but it's difficult to make too much of this. I'd mentioned the consumer discretionary and financials, those being two very important groups, are leading the way to the downside, as well as materials today. At one point, we saw over 5 sectors down more than 1% on the session. So a lot of people have gotten extremely enthusiastic and just optimistic and thinking the market's going to rally higher into year end and there's no hurdles. If anything, today is sort of a slap to reality and thinking that we might have at least a minor pullback into mid-December before we can continue higher.
Okay. If the Fed decides not to make any change to its program this month, is that likely to further bolster equities?
Well, look, I think a lot of scare has been put into the fact that the Fed eventually is going to start to taper, regardless of whether it happens, in January and in December and March, April. I think everybody is starting to get prepared for the fact that it is going to happen, and it's not going to be for any economic reasons. It's because, the Fed is starting to get very concerned that it's not really having an effect, and that with rates low, potentially it could be causing bubble-like conditions, even though Yellen on the record has said that there is no bubble right now. I think the Fed is concerned that they continue to add to their buying and they're not getting the result that they want out of this.